Hi everyone, Emma here from Bennett Babies. I'm going to take you through today how I fix my paw spout. I'm hoping you can see okay. So this baby, I'll show you how I'm fixing the seam line as well. Now this seam line in particular is one of the worst ones that I get with this mold. This is Indigo. And this baby had a little bit of leakage through from her mold, where I'd sealed the seam line up, so I've had to just pull that out, as you can see here. But this is completely fixable, and I'll show you how to do that in a second. Okay, so I've already cut the paw spout and taken out any bits from the seam line that I've needed to do, and now I'm just using alcohol just to clean her up. I've got her head rested on a little bowl so I can do her paw spout. Okay, so I already have my this is my B and my A of EcoFlex 20 out in these little containers. It's just easier to take that out from these small ones rather than the big buckets when I'm working on smaller areas. So I will put, I'm again just eyeballing this. You can get syringes with you know, the little notches on them, so you can see how much exactly you're putting in, but I tend to just eyeball this and count how many scoops I put in, or I can see how full that's getting. There we go. Okay, so this is the exact same product that I've poured my baby in, same colour, and then this is the slacker that I've used. So I'll just add a tiny bit of slacker to my mix. Give that a good old stir. Just make sure that I've got it all off the sides and everything as well, so that when you come to put it on, everything's completely mixed in. Give it a good old stir. And then what I do is I use Thivex to just thicken up the product that I've got here. So I'll put 5 drops in here. Now this product is fantastic, so this will make my EcoFlex 20 much thicker. Now you really do, if you've got this much in here, this is just a tiny little mixing pot about the size of a shot glass. Like I said, I've put 5 drops in there. If you put too much in, it will go really, really thick, but it will not cure. So you can over add this product. So you have to be really, really careful. You don't want to put this onto your baby and then it not actually set at all, which has actually happened to me before. This bottle, you have to be a little bit careful. Some of them you'll go to tip it in and it will just squeeze loads in there. So I would then just throw that out and mix again. Okay, so that's not too bad. I might add 1 more drop into there. So that would be, it's 2 more drops, 6 drops. That was tiny little drops. Okay, I also have my fan brush, and I'll be using this one actually. at some point on my baby, so clean that off. And then I have, this is Bob Ross Odorless Thinner, which I'll show you. I have in this little container here, just to help smooth the silicone out after I popped it onto her head. Okay, look, you can see that's much thicker now, which helps for it not to just go absolutely all over the place and slide off your baby. So just for this layer, there's obviously a big gap in there. So you just want to start to fill that up, because this is going to take just a few layers. Okay, so I've used my stick here just to make sure there's no excess coming out. And this is why you have your baby's head up, so it doesn't fall out. So I'm using my gun here, making sure that I'm not getting too close to the baby's head, because you don't want to burn your silicone. And this just helps speed up the process of curing the silicone. Okay, so your baby's head is now going to be quite warm, so I'm not going to want to be adding another layer of silicone just yet, because that's going to set the product really quickly, and I do want just a little bit more working time, because obviously heat speeds up the process of the product setting. So I'm going to want to let that cool down just slightly. And she's not quite set yet either. Got a couple of little air bubbles in there. What I am going to do though is I'm going to turn her round, and I'm going to work on her seam line, which is needing quite a lot of repair. Move her over a little bit, make sure she's not going to roll anywhere. Okay, if I move her arms up, she might sit a bit better. There we go. This one's got a super floppy head. Just need to make sure she doesn't go anywhere. Don't want her flopping off my table. Okay, again, you just got to make sure that you have cleaned your baby. And there's no little bits of lint. And I'm going to be doing exactly the same thing on her seam line, hoping you can see. Grab one of my brushes as well. So I've got that to hand. Scrape off any excess. You can pop that back in. Make sure you've got no bubbles. Okay, so now I take my my fan brush and I'm going to dip it into the Bob Ross thinner. Now I'd usually wear a mask whilst using this product because it's actually really bad for you. It upsets my asthma quite a lot as well, but I'm going to, just for this video, not, so that you can hear me. Okay. And then you can use this brush to smooth your silicone. Now you don't want to get this too wet, and you don't want to have any drips from this product, because that will hold on your baby. I don't know if you can see, there's little droplets here that will create either little dried out droplets or little marks, which you don't want. Okay, so I'm really happy with that. Smooth that down. Make sure that your brush is just washed out ever so slightly, because you don't want the product to set on your, definitely don't do that either. You don't want your product to set on your brush. Okay, so I'm now going to, just down this side of my baby, because I did spill a little bit of that on her, just going to want to brush that off a little bit and wash that down with some alcohol. And I'm going to come back here and use my heat gun again, just to help speed up this curing process. Again, I don't want my gun to be too close to my baby, because I don't want to burn the silicone whilst it's drying. Spin her round and see how her head is faring. Okay, so that is dry enough. Now at this point, you've got to be really careful that it's dry enough to work over the top of, because if it is not, let me clean this up a little bit more. If your silicone's not set and you work over the top of it, it will take the underneath layers off, which is not what you want. So patience is definitely the key here. I'm happy to go ahead and add a little bit more at this point, so that's great. Okay, I'm just checking my silicone here as well, make sure that's not set too much. It is getting thicker, which will be really good for me to work with. But you don't want it to be too thick that it's going to set really fast and you know, not have enough working time for you. Okay, so you can see I'm using this stick just to smooth and take off the excess of this product around the pour spout. And pop that back in. There we go. I'll have it as smooth as possible. And I am going to just help it a little bit, just to smooth those edges slightly. I don't know if you can see these little drops going down her forehead. Now you don't want those drops to just be left and stay there, because you will be able to see those when your product cures. So make sure that's all brushed down nicely. Cleaning my brush off just a little bit, getting rid of the excess silicone so that it doesn't set on my brush, and going straight back into speeding up this curing process, just ever so slightly. So if you're worried about bubbles in your product as well, because when you're pouring your baby from the mould, you use a degasser so there's no bubbles in on your baby when you pull her out. You can actually degas your mixture if you feel you want to, if there's lots of bubbles in. I've actually got quite a few bubbles in this one today, so I could degas this one. I'm not going to right this second. I'm going to see if we can work these out a little bit. But yeah, you can definitely degas this as well. Okay, so I'm going to go in and just test this. Let's see how dry that is. Yep, I'm happy with that. I'm going to use my clean brush now to add this silicone in. You can see how thick that's getting. And you can take your time with this process. It doesn't matter how many layers it takes you to fix. And it's sometimes much better to just take things slowly. You know, just bit by bit, so you're doing a good job and getting it right. Going back to my fan brush to just smooth this down. If you can feel a bit of resistance, then just damp your brush a little bit more, because it will just mean it's a little bit too dry. You'll get a feel for how this works for you as well. Make sure it's all nice and smooth. Okay. I have just a tiny little air bubble here, so I want to make sure I'm getting in there and getting rid of that. Okay, I'm back with my heat gun. I've just noticed here I've got a little bit that's dripped down of silicone, and we want to take that out because that will dry and then we're not going to want that. Spin her back round and have a look at her. This is a soft blend baby, so she has slacker in her, which means she's super sticky and attracts so much lint. So it is a little bit of a fight trying to keep her clean. Just means you have to, you know, pay a bit more attention to what's on your baby and clean her off just a little bit more. Again, I've used my sponge. Now these are latex free, and they need to be vitamin E free as well. So they're really quite difficult to get hold of. A lot of the ones that are latex free on Amazon or I don't know, any shops that you go to have the vitamin E in, and other products which actually causes the silicone to not cure, it inhibits the cure. So you do 100% need to check your sponges and your gloves before you use them. So I would just put a little bit of your silicone mix on there and see if it sets up. Otherwise you're in for a bit of a nightmare. And I've used my alcohol as well just to clean her off. Just make sure that you've left it just a little bit of time, so that product has flashed off and you know, evaporated, dried, before you put your next layer on. I'm just going to take my scissors here. I can see a tiny little bit of a lip here, which I'm actually going to want to take away, and then maybe here as well, just to make my life a little bit easier. There we go. I love these scissors because they have a tiny little curve on them, which does help. I have flat scissors as well. There we go. I'm happy with that. Right, so checking my product again. So I am going to use this, but that is on the tail end of it being acceptable to use. So I have some bubbles in this one, so I'm just trying to squish those out a little bit. Next time I'll be using my degasser. I think it's not always the case that I get bubbles in this mixture. Sometimes it's really easy and I can just pop that on without degassing this little bit. Today, I don't know, I have lots of bubbles. So I'm using my little wooden spatula here just to take off as much of this product as possible, whilst making sure that that's gonna cover that pour spout. Right, so this is usually a little bit more work at this point because you want to make sure everything is smooth. I usually brush inwards. Not forgetting that at this point my product is setting faster, so I have my, I have to work a little bit quickly. There we go, that's looking good. Making sure that I've wiped off all the excess, because like I said, even with this product, if it drips down, you're going to want to blend that in. Go nice and gently so you're not going to get any lines in there. Okay. Clean your brush off just a little bit, and in with the heat gun. So I think what I'm going to do is do one more little layer on the back for you to see, and then I'm going to come off camera, fix a little bit more because I want to put my mask on really, and then, and obviously not bore you to death. Let's have a quick look, see how we're doing. Right, this is going to be okay for a second, and then I'll jump back on just to show you the last little bit. And how she's all finished up. There we go. Just keeping an eye on any little fluffy bits that your baby might be picking up. So this product's already making my chest feel a little bit sore. It's so bad for you. I guess because I've got asthma as well. It's it's not great. So I definitely recommend getting a good mask. I'll show you mine before I click off actually. Okay. Make sure I've got these little drippy bits. Brilliant. Okay, right, so I'm going to show you my mask and then I'm going to jump off, finish a few little bits and come back to you. So this is my mask. It's brilliant, and it's got your filters that you can change. It works absolutely brilliantly, especially when you're matting your baby. You can't really do without that because a matting powder is an absolute nightmare. I use a tent to mat in as well because it goes all over the place. Okay, so I will be back with you shortly. Thanks guys. Hi everyone, back again just to show you quickly the end result of fixing Indigo's pore spout and seam line. Just Just give her a bit of a spin for you so you can see. I'll lift her head up as well. Nice and smooth. All done. Thanks for watching.